Henry, I have something to tell you. I had an affair with Tony, and Zara is his daughter, not yours. So I'm leaving with my daughter to go live with his real father. Abuja, a Nigerian city, was as vibrant as always. The tall scrapers kissed the sky. The streets were filled with people, each with their stories, their joy and their sorrows. It was in this city that Henry and Amaka lived, and their story was one that seemed perfect on the outside, but filled with shadows. Henry and Amaka had been married for 5 years, and from all outward appearances, they were the perfect couple, both successful in their careers. Henry was a senior project manager at a top construction company, and Ifeoma was also a successful businesswoman. Their union was blessed with a beautiful girl named Zara. Friends and neighbors often referred to them as the perfect couple. They had everything going on for them: a solid career, a supportive circle of friends, and a beautiful daughter. But as perfect as the outside world saw them, Amaka harbored a growing sense of discomfort. For a while, she had sensed Henry's distraction. He had become more withdrawn, lost in his thoughts more often than not. Amaka began to suspect that there was something Henry was hiding. One evening, while Henry was in the shower, Amaka's suspicions led her to his phone. She had never snooped through his belongings before, but the feeling in her gut left her no choice. As she swiped through his messages, one name caught her attention: Tola. She hesitated for a moment, but the urge was too strong. She opened the chat. Her heart sank. Tola was not just any woman. She was the mother of Henry's son, a son Amaka had never known about. She felt the world around her crash as she stared at the evidence in disbelief. He has a son? How could he keep this from me for so long? Amaka was furious. Henry had always spoken about honesty and being transparent, and yet he had hidden such a significant part of his life. She read and saw pictures of a boy that resembled her husband so much. It was undeniable. He was about 8 years old, which meant Henry had fathered him before their marriage. When Henry came out from the shower, Amaka confronted him, her voice shaking with emotion. "You have a son, Henry," she said, her voice filled with venom. Henry froze, his face looking pale. He had been dreading this moment for years. "Baby, I can explain," Henry said. "Explain what?" "That you have been lying to me for 5 years. That you have a child out there. That I never knew." Her voice rose as her anger boiled over. "You made me believe we had the perfect marriage, and you kept this from me?" Henry tried to calm her down. "Baby, I was scared of losing you. This happened before we even met. I love you so much. I was just scared of losing you if I had told you. I'm so sorry, Amaka." But Amaka stormed out of the house, leaving Henry in shock and regret. For days, she didn't return, staying with her sister in Wuse, refusing to pick her husband's calls or respond to his messages. But while Amaka was angry, she also had her own secrets to contend with. The news of Henry's son reminded her of her own deceit, a sin she had buried so deep. She almost convinced herself it didn't exist. Amaka had been unfaithful. 1 year into their marriage, Amaka began to have an affair with Henry's best friend called Tony. The affair started when Tony started offering a listening ear whenever Amaka complained about Henry's long work hours or his emotional absence. Tony had always been there for them. They would often hang out, all three of them, but as Henry became more engrossed in his work, Amaka found herself spending more time with Tony. One evening, after a few drinks, lines were crossed. What began as a moment of weakness turned into a full-fledged affair that had lasted for a long time. Amaka got pregnant, but it wasn't Henry's child. She knew in her heart that the baby belonged to Tony. Zara, their beautiful daughter, was not Henry's child, but Tony's. The guilt had eaten at Amaka for years. At first, she considered confessing to Henry, but the fear of losing everything kept her silent. She buried the truth. She convinced herself that as long as Henry never found out, that their lives will continue as normal. But now, with the revelation of Henry's son, Amaka found herself trapped in her own web of deceit. As much as Henry's lie hurt her, her betrayal was much worse. To make things worse, Tony had been pressurizing her for months to leave Henry. He wanted her to run away with him and start a new life together with Zara. The guilt and confusion were much more to bear. Amaka's mind raced, trying to figure out her next move. Should she confront Henry with the truth, or should she just leave with Tony? A few weeks later, she made her decision. She would leave Henry and take Zara with her. Tony had promised her that they could start afresh in another city. It seemed like that was the only way to escape the mess she created. On the night she planned to leave, she packed a few bags. Zara was playing in her room, unaware of what was happening. Maka sent Tony a message saying, "I'm ready. I will meet you tonight." Just as she was about to take Zara and leave, she heard the front door open. Henry was home earlier than expected. "Amaka, what's going on?" he asked. Seeing the packed bags, "Amaka, I have been begging you and calling you to forgive me. I did not cheat on you. I only did not tell you about my son. Please, don't leave me. I am very sorry," Henry pleaded, almost crying. Amaka's heart pounded. "Henry, I have something to tell you." Henry, I had an affair with Tony, and Zara is his daughter, not yours. So I'm leaving with my daughter to go live with his real father." Henry looked confused. "What are you talking about? What do you mean she is not my daughter?" The silence in the room was suffocating. Henry stood still, his face frozen in shock. He couldn't process what he was hearing. His own wife had been having an affair with his best friend, and Zara, the daughter he had loved and cared for, wasn't his own. "You've been sleeping with Tony all this time, and you were going to leave me, take Zara and run away with him, behind my back?" Tears welled up in Amaka's eyes. "I'm so sorry, Henry. I didn't mean for it to happen this way." Henry couldn't believe what he was hearing. The betrayal cut deep. "I can't believe you, Amaka." His voice thick with emotions. "You've been lying to me for years. How do you sleep at night? You got so angry because you found out I had a son long before I met you. You made me cry and even regretted having a son. Amaka, I starved and cried for days because I hurt you. I thought I was the devil here for what I did to you, not knowing that you were the real devil here. Amaka, I want a divorce. I can't do this anymore." The words hit Amaka like a blow. Their marriage was over. The life they had built together was crumbling before her eyes. Henry turned and walked out of the room. The divorce process was swift. Henry had already distanced himself emotionally from Amaka. He knew it was the right thing to do. He couldn't stay married to a woman who had betrayed him so deeply, and he couldn't continue living a lie. Zara, despite everything, remained the light of his life. Amaka moved out from the house with Zara, but Henry also made it clear to Amaka that their marriage was over, but he was adamant about one thing. Zara would not be abandoned. She would continue to take responsibility as his father and take care of all her needs. Amaka, having lost everything, her husband, her affair with Tony and her perfect family. Tony had disappeared as soon as the truth came out, after promising to stand by her, declaring his love for her, leaving her to face the consequences of their actions alone. She realized too late that she had thrown away her marriage for a man who didn't really care about her. She was left all alone. Amaka rented an apartment in the same city. Months later, after their divorce, Amaka and Henry tried their best to remain civil for Zara's sake. Some days, Zara would stay with Henry, and some days with her mother, Amaka. Henry, on the other hand, made efforts to connect with his son, trying to build a relationship with the child he had hidden for so long. It wasn't easy, but he found some comfort in finally being honest with himself and those around him. In the end, both Amaka and Henry learned painful lessons about the cost of deception. Henry's lie had set off a chain reaction, but it was Amaka's betrayal that ultimately destroyed their marriage. Morals of this story: honesty is the foundation of a strong relationship or friendship. Infidelity has severe consequences that can destroy a long-built relationship or marriage. And also, owning up to our mistakes and accepting responsibilities for our actions is the first step towards resolving problems and also healing from it. Hey besties, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot from this story. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and also leave a comment. I always enjoy reading your comments. And don't also forget to turn on your notification buttons for more new videos. Till next time guys, bye!